Welcome back to another edition of the Mental Dimes podcast. I'm your host, Chuck, along with my co-host, the coach I guess he's to my left, and Phil, I guess he's to my right with the way I'm sitting apparently on this TV screen here. But we are back. It is another episode of the Mental Dimes podcast. This week, we're unveiling a new set of topics. We're going to do Love It or Junk It. We're going to talk MLB for the time being while the playoffs are still happening. We're going to talk college football as always, and the NFL, but we're doing it in a different scenario, different way. You guys will enjoy it. Coach came up with this brilliant idea. But before we get into this, let's talk about two things real quick. We'll start off with the bad. And then we'll go to the really good. All three of our teams lost. West Virginia got killed. Auburn was okay, kind of fell over in the late third quarter. And then Syracuse went to overtime after a really good drive to end the fourth quarter and lost in overtime at home to Wake Forest. Coach, that was it was a nail biter. You were saying before we began, you never usually get mad, but that time you got mad.
I does. I never get upset after football games on TV. I enjoy the rest of the day, Saturday, kick back, but I turned the TV off. I quit watching football. I didn't cut it on until I saw Alabama was down at half. So it put me in a funk. I ain't gonna lie.
I was going to say, you turned the TV off at the worst possible time. We had Alabama A&M. We had Nebraska, Michigan ended up being a pretty good game. We had Penn State, Iowa was a fantastic game. But we had some great late games. And then, you had to turn off the TV there and you missed the ending to that Iowa game. And tough break there, Coach. Tough break. And then Maynard, Auburn came off of their first win in over 20 years in Death Valley. And,
hey, when we were up 3-0, y'all were like, man, that Maynard pick's looking good, didn't you?
No. Told you to wait a second. But I'm glad you brought it up. The picks, the game picks, the guy who's been the doormat of the three of us in the game picks, he did it. He accomplished something that none of us have done, not even our guest pickers. That is me. I went 8-0 this week. And I don't even know why we're having a podcast this week. It should have been a celebratory break, honestly. Do I get a congratulations?
Congratulations, Chuck. Congrats, Chuck. Attaboy. Hey.
All right.
You're still in second place.
Close the gap to 5.
One game above me.
Yeah, and then one game behind. I mean, seriously, it couldn't have been. It's like I just won 30 games in a row, but I'm still 3 games behind the winner. But a couple big things happening, getting in the works. If you want to start betting off my picks, by all means, folks, you're more than welcome. I'm not going to be exclusive things here, but let's move it on here. We're going to unveil our new thing here. Love it or junk it. We'll start with the MLB. I have literally no idea what's happening in the MLB playoffs because
Braves won today.
The A's aren't in it. I do know the Braves won. Coach is celebrating accordingly with his hat and jersey on. Congratulations, Coach. But, let's start here in the National League side of the playoffs. Oh, Maynard's got a shirt on. Sorry.
Thank you.
I was looking at the notes. The winner, so love it or junk it, the winner of the Giants-Dodgers series will win the World Series. Coach, you came up with the topic. You answer first.
Junk. Ain't going to happen. 3 out of the last 10 years, teams with the best record wins it. Only in the last 20 years, only 5 teams with the best record has won it. I think the Astros are the far better team right now. I think the Astros win it all. I'm going junk on this one.
Maynard.
I got junk it. Both these teams, they're good ball teams. I mean, they both won over 100 ball games, so you can't really argue with that fact. But, I still believe in my Braves. I think the Braves are hot. We got some good arms going. You can just look at that. Roll your eyes, Chuck. Thank you. But I still don't think they win it. So I got junk it.
I'm going to say junk it. I'll just
Tell me why, Chuck. Tell me why.
I think, man, those Astros, if you win the American League West and you're not the Oakland A's, you must be really good. I just got to say it that way. I'm sorry. I burned out of baseball by June. The A's were good, but then they disappointed in August and just blew it in September on many occasions. But I'll say junk it just because I don't have faith in the Dodgers. You're already down Kershaw. And so I don't think they're going to get this series. And then the Giants winning it doesn't say too much for me either. And plus, it's not an even year for the Giants. If it was an even year, I would consider it. There you go. 2010, 2014. And so I would consider it. But no, I say junk it. We'll move on here. The New York Yankees should fire Aaron Boone after another unsuccessful World Series season. They didn't win. Maynard, begin it here.
Junket. I know Coach is going to disagree, but Junket, this guy has an over 600% win percentage. He's only 11-11 in the playoffs. That's not real good. But I like Aaron Boone. He's still one of those old school guys, kind of stands up for his players a lot, kind of like the Bobby Cox. I mean, he gets thrown out more than anybody anymore, and that's kind of why I like him. He really stands up for his guys, and that's my argument. Give him another run. He's had some real bad injuries there. They can't stay healthy, but I think he's doing the best you can do with that team. So, Junket.
Coach.
I love it. I think now I want to preface it. I do like Aaron Boone. I watched him play when he was in Double-A with the Lookouts. I saw him play. And I would love for the Braves to fire Snitker and for the Braves to hire Aaron Boone. I would love for that to happen. But he is managing the Yankees, and he had the best lineup. I can remember the Yankees were probably one of the best Yankees teams I've seen in a long time from top to bottom. Chuck, you could go out there and manage the Yankees and be just as successful as he's been this year. Made some big trades, had some big bats, but you can't. I mean, he ain't even made an appearance in the World Series, and so I think you got to go. I mean, I'm sorry, but I think the Yankees, it's time to let him go.
I say love it. I think you torch him too. The standard of the Yankees and with the roster that they've had for a few years now has been make the World Series, win the World Series. Coach, you mentioned it. They haven't even made it with him. The best they've done at the ALCS, and it was a close one when they played Houston 3 years ago. Still didn't make it. Or, sorry, 2 years ago. Still didn't make it. That's the standard. You hold him in New York. He's had his time. It's not working. Fire him. Moving on. College football. It was chaos. If there ever was some chaos over the weekend. Cincinnati, the Bearcats, with their highest ranking in program history, are now the number 3 team in college football. Georgia, number 1. Iowa, number 2. You got Cincinnati there, 3. And Oklahoma, they're at 4. Sooners making the move up after winning Red River. But here is it. Love it or junk it, Cincinnati is a mortal lock for the college football playoffs. Coach.
I love it. I think they're in. I think by the committee putting them at 3, that lets them know, hey, I mean, it's theirs to lose. And their schedule is weak the rest of the way out. They're not going to lose again. I think if they were 6 or 7 in the polls, still questionable at this moment, but I think by the committee putting them at number 3, I think they're a lock. I think they're getting in. I don't think they're better than Bama nor Penn State, but I think Cincinnati's going to get in based on where they're at right now.
Maynard.
What's my Junket? Sorry, that's what Junket. I don't like it. I think there's too many other undefeated teams out there left still. That's what I was sitting here counting up. And I think a 1-loss Alabama, they beat Georgia in a close one. So 1-loss Alabama gets in, 1-loss Georgia gets in, and then you got 2 more teams, and they're not one of them. Junket.
See, this is why we don't go to the SEC guy first when we're asking a question about the CFP. This is why I love it.
1 second.
I love it. I think Cincinnati is a lock. You don't have anyone on your schedule coming up that you can lose to. If you lose, obviously you deserve to not even be in the top 15 to any of these teams on your remaining schedule. They don't have the caliber of opponents, but it doesn't matter to me. You're undefeated. You beat Notre Dame and South Bend. You have a championship game as well. It's not like you're going in. You have a championship game in the American. They deserve it. OU, I expect OU to falter. I expect them to lose at least once, maybe twice. They still have to play Iowa State. They still have to play Oklahoma State. There's your 1-loss team could get in there, Maynard, with Alabama or whoever out of the SEC if you would like. But no, they're a lock. Now, Oklahoma, perfect. I didn't even know that was the next question. Oklahoma is a top 4 team in the top 25 right now. Maynard, love it or junk it?
I mean, I'm going to say love it, but I don't really love it. I mean, I think they're one of the top 4 now, but I don't see them in there in the end. So I'm going to say for now, I love it. I think they're one of the top 4. They win. It's not real pretty, but they win. I'm interested to see what happens with the quarterback situation now. But for this week, I love it, but they're going to lose in the future.
Coach?
I think it's junk. I think they're not a top 4 team. I think in the heat of the moment with that quarterback change, obviously I mean, that's a great atmosphere at the Cotton Bowl. So I think it might have been easy to get caught up in the moment. And I will give them credit. They were down 18-21, and they came back and won. I mean, props, hats off to them. But coming off a week, I mean, they still have Baylor. They still got Oklahoma State. They even got Iowa State. And then you get the Big 12 championship game if you get past that. I think they're going to lose at least twice coming out. I think with this quarterback thing, it's only going to make it worse. I think it's junk. They're not a top 4 team.
I think it's
top
junk.
14 this week.
They're not. I mean, obviously they're a top 14 this week because the rankings have came out, but they don't deserve to be there. They should not be there. They're not going to get in the playoffs.
I agree.
I think right now they deserve to be number 14 right now. Right now, yes, that's a valid ranking right now. But I'm going to junk it overall by the end of the season into the end of November. Junk. I think you do lose twice. You have to go to Waco to play Baylor. You have to go to Stillwater to play Oklahoma State. You get Iowa State at home. They're not as strong as they were supposedly going to be coming in. TCU is no slouch this Saturday. That's no slouch of a game. TCU is a competitive team, not great. But yeah, the quarterback change, we'll know. We will know. Lincoln Riley did not confirm nor deny what he will do with Rattler after the game on Saturday. He has his press conference probably Tuesday or Wednesday. Then you'll know. It's going to be – this first game will be a huge tell. How much better is your team without Rattler, or are you worse and you have to go back to him? If you go back to Rattler, I think you are confirmed 2 losses because Rattler is not your guy. He's not your guy. So I junk Oklahoma as a number 14. In the NFL, we have a lot of controversy. Jacksonville Jaguars and Urban Meyer. The question is, the Jacksonville Jaguars should fire Urban Meyer after the videos surfaced of him groping another woman, not his wife, another woman at a bar in Columbus a few weeks ago. Love it or junk it? Coach, you're very passionate. Please let me hear it.
Junk. But let me tell you why. They've not had a winning record since 2017. Now, I'm not condoning what he did by no means. I'm not sitting here saying
the Deshaun Watson thing.
Yeah, it's apples and oranges, Chuck. Apples and oranges. And Deshaun Watson is innocent until proven guilty. Innocent until proven guilty. But I would say, and neither one of y'all are going to argue, the Jaguars are one of the worst, if not the worst franchise.
The worst.
Yeah, I mean, it ain't even close. Put them even with the Texans. I mean, I might give the edge to the Texans. I mean, I kind of have to. And so I don't know who else can do any better than Urban. I think obviously Urban Meyer he's always won wherever he's been. And I think coming to the NFL, there's got to be a learning curve. But if you fire him, you're only going to make matters worse just because you're starting back at ground zero with a rookie quarterback. You know, they don't look they didn't play well against the Titans, but they've had some bright spots this year. So I don't think you fire him just because you make matters even worse than it already is.
Maynard?
Love it. Fire him. I've never really been a big fan of the guy. It's as a coach, your job is not to be a distraction to the team. He's a distraction. To me, he's been a distraction wherever he's been. He has heart problems a couple times. You know, you talk about his past at Florida after he left, all the things that were happening there. And I didn't like the hire to start with. He's not going to be real successful there and win many games to start with. So just go ahead and get rid of him and get the next guy in there who can maybe build a team.
I think Junket. I think, he's already a distraction to the team. They aren't looking very hot right now, but I think it just gets to be a bigger issue. And then you could granted, you're not doing well right now. You fire him now, you could set your franchise back a few more years. Right now, you still have the possibility of advancing with him. You know, you grow. You're not going to be transforming from this year to next year and be a Super Bowl contender, but you have a chance to grow. And I would rather not throw your head coach out with a brand new rookie quarterback, especially with the talent that Trevor Lawrence has. You don't want to throw all that in there after him. So I think you hang on to him for now. If it gets worse, okay, then yeah. But right now, based off of what has happened, the factors that we know, you hang on to him right now. He's an issue, but I don't think you fire him. Final question. The Seattle Seahawks should prepare for life after Russell Wilson next year. They don't need to. They got a great backup, play quarterback at West Virginia. They're going to be fine. But, Coach, let's hear your thoughts on that one.
I love it. I like Russell Wilson, but Russell Wilson relies on his legs. He's getting old. He's 32 years old. Ever since Russell Wilson has played for the Seahawks, they have never been a top 10 passing team. They've never been a top 10 passing team. And we all know that as you get older, your legs start to fail you. So if you're going to remain in the league as a quarterback, you've got to have some ability throwing the football. And for him to never been a top 10 quarterback as far as yard statistics since he's been there, that obviously I think it's time to go. I don't think they've made it past the divisional round since they played in the Super Bowl in 2014, but he's getting old. He can't, he relies on his legs. It's time for a clean break. I like the guy. I love the Seahawks, but I think it's time to go. Move on. Get Matt Corral in the draft next year.
Maynard.
I love it. I'm a big Russell Wilson fan. I think he's a winner no matter where he goes. I think it's just time for him to go win somewhere else. That's how I see it. I think he'll leave after this year and he'll find another home and he'll win ball games there because that's what he does. He's a winner. He may not have the best arm. I mean, I agree with you on that, but he makes plays, and even when he gets older, he's going to continue to make plays. He's going to continue to win ball games, and he's just going to do what he does. And I think he'll do it somewhere else next year.
I love it. I think if you look at the dilemma that the Steelers will probably be in going into the offseason, you've had a veteran quarterback for some time with Ben. Now you're going to start scrambling probably to find your backup. There isn't a backup on that roster for Russell Wilson going into next year. Geno Smith, we'll see how he is for the next 5-6 weeks as their starter. I doubt he does enough to where he becomes the man in control next season, but you never know. You never know. And they might not want to force Russell Wilson back this year. So there could be a possibility that if Geno plays well enough, he's the guy for the rest of 2021. But yes, I think you do look to the future now. You start to maybe re-sign Russell Wilson. You bring him home, hang him there in Seattle for a longer time. But you need to start looking towards your future if you are the Seahawks. Gentlemen, those are our topics. Pretty good. Pretty good. I thought controversial there, coach, to say Matt Corral is going to go to Seattle. I think Pittsburgh's got him locked up. But, I
think Seattle's going to have an earlier draft pick.
Maybe.
There's no need. At what point, what is Russell Wilson expected to be out for? 4 weeks?
6 to 8.
So if Geno Smith can come in, let's say Geno goes 3-3 at best. I'm not sure what the Seahawks schedule looks like moving forward. But, if you're the Seahawks and you're looking at a draft pick, at what point do you say, let's just ride with Geno. Let's just move on, look for next year, and try to get a higher draft pick. Not necessarily throw the games, but try to put yourself in a position.
You're saying lose the games. We got what you're saying. You said lose the games.
I guess Coach wants to tank.
Coach, I wouldn't say tank. I'm not. I'm not managing. I'm not managing the Seahawks. I'm just making a point that that might be a question going on if Russell Wilson's not planning on being there.
I just want to make a point that you're both arguing on wanting the future Heisman winner, Matt Corral.
I want it.
I agree.
Somebody over here has been. He had a really good week last week. If y'all didn't know,
he had a great week.
Yeah, he looked pretty good. Looked a lot better than Sam Howell.
I wish he was my fantasy quarterback.
He'd have a lot of points.
Yeah. Speaking of which, well, gentlemen, we will shift over. It is game picks time. We have our guest picker coming on another week, another guest picker, and we'll shift over. Okay, now it is time for our game pick segment. We have our guest picker, Mikey, brought on by Maynard. It is a big week here. You got a lot to do here. We had someone go 8-0 last week. Can't remember who that was, but it's a big thing to do here. We've not happened very often. Actually, the first one ever. You win a big prize and everything like that. I'm still waiting on mine, but welcome to the show.
Appreciate it. Glad to be on.
Well, we will get started here. We have a couple good college football games to look at this weekend. Not like we just had, but pretty good here. Coach, we'll start with you. Number 12, Oklahoma State at number 25, Texas.
We talked about it last week with Arkansas trying to respond from Georgia. Sometimes it's hard to come back after a tough loss. And I don't know if you could draw up a worse way to lose than Texas loss. Sark's going to have his hands full trying to get his guys prepared. Oklahoma State, undefeated, good team coming in. I think Oklahoma State's just going to run over a beat-up Texas team mentally and physically.
Maynard?
I got Oklahoma State's not getting any respect at 5-0. Spencer Sanders throwing the ball around. I think he puts up a lot of big points against a not real good Texas defense. Oklahoma State.
Sir, our guest picker of honor.
Well, there's a reason that Oklahoma State's not getting a whole lot of respect. 5-0. I mean, they haven't had a win decided by more than 11 points, and that includes a 7-point win over Missouri State. So I've got Texas. I like Casey Thompson, Bijan Robinson. I think they bounced back from that Oklahoma game last week.
I got to go with Oklahoma State. I've had faith in Sanders. He just needed to get healthy last year to have consistency. Oklahoma State, yeah, they're not running over teams, but they're still winning. Texas, yes, you go in Austin, but I think, like Coach mentioned, you're coming off a pretty tough loss. You can't lose it in any worse way. I got to go with OK State. Moving to the SEC, we have number 11 Kentucky at number 1 Georgia. Maynard, we'll start with you. You're very familiar with Georgia. Who are you going with?
Well, I think I learned my lesson last week. Let's not pick against the dogs. That defense is really, really good. They've given up 2 touchdowns all year. Let me say that again. They've given up 2 touchdowns off offense with other teams all year. So I got a feeling that Kentucky may not score anything but a field goal this week. So go Dogs.
Coach.
I think it's a great story about Kentucky, but if nobody really knows about it, they're not hyping it up. And I think nobody's hyping it up because they know what's coming. Georgia. That's all. They know what's coming.
Mikey.
Yeah, I mean, I agree that it's a terrible matchup for Kentucky. You know, that defense, Jordan Davis, Kobe Dean, it's not a good matchup for Kentucky. Even though Kentucky has been able to throw the football around a little bit, Will Levis, Wandale Robinson have been good. But no, I was the spread like 22 points right now?
Yeah,
22.5.
Yeah, I think that's about right. It may be even worse than that, honestly.
It's honestly too bad for Kentucky. Really,
if you go crazy over beating LSU, you know,
yeah. Especially this year. Exactly. Yeah, it's a tough time. Kentucky's 6-0. They've never been this good since Paul Bear Bryant was their head coach years and years and years ago. You get to go to Athens and face the team of teams right now. Go with Georgia. Number 19, BYU, coming off a pretty shocking loss at home to Boise State on Saturday. They get to go to Waco, Texas, and play Baylor. Not going to talk about who they beat. Coach, we'll go to you here. Baylor and BYU. Who you rolling with?
Baylor beat a good West Virginia team last year.
No,
I think it sucks that BYU's an independent, and so I mean they have nothing to play for the rest of the way out. I mean their season's pretty much shot. They're not going to make the playoffs. They're not going to conference championship. I'm going Baylor here, just because I mean BYU's got nothing left in the tank. That sucks. They lost. I was rooting for them, but Baylor's going to keep momentum going.
Maynard.
I've watched BYU play. I wasn't real impressed with them, so I got Baylor winning at home in a close one. You know, they got the win last week. They're playing at home again this week. I got them winning again.
Mikey.
Yeah, same thing. I mean, Baylor, I really like Dave Aranda. He's, you know, getting that ship kind of turned around in Baylor. And their quarterback has thrown 11 touchdowns, hasn't thrown a pick yet. So I think they pulled that one off against BYU at home.
Did Baylor win last week? I couldn't tell. Did they win? Everybody going to mention Baylor won? I'll go with Baylor. Baylor is a good team. Not saying
they
they
were my super dog last week.
I take offense that Coach said good West Virginia team. I take offense to that. That seemed more of a slight than anything. I'll go with Baylor. Maynard, we're talking about your Rebels here. Matt Corral. Ole Miss goes on the road to Knoxville to play Tennessee. Do you have faith on the road here with your Heisman Trophy pick? Maynard, who you on with?
It's a tough one. I really, Tennessee had a really good week last week. They scored a bunch of points, but Matt Corral is going to put up 50-something on them. So Matt Corral, my boy Lane Train, he's got the popcorn rolling still, and going to put up some points this week. And Tennessee's still not real good.
Coach.
I just hope Lane brushes his hair if he's going to keep wearing that visor, because he was looking rough. Rough. I think it's exciting. I don't doubt it. I think it'd be a fun game to go watch in person. Lane coming back to Knoxville. Knoxville's a cool stadium to go to anyway. Gonna be a lot of fireworks going, but I'm going Ole Miss.
Mikey?
Yeah, I got Ole Miss too. I mean, Matt Corral, if you take away the Alabama game, I mean, he's the best quarterback in the SEC coming back, But it is interesting, though. Josh Heupel has, transformed that offense in half a season already. So they're a top 3 ranked offense in the SEC. So I think it'll be fun. That line's what, -3 Ole Miss right now?
Yep.
I don't think it'll be that close, but yeah, I've got Ole Miss.
Got to go with Ole Miss. I think that's a double-digit easy win for the Rebels. Corral just keeps it rolling. Final college game to pick here. We'll go to the Pac-12. Number 18, Arizona State. They've been a quiet mover into the top 25 here the last couple of weeks. They get to go play the Utah Utes. Coach, do you like the Sun Devils?
I don't know who picked this game for us. Utah Utes.
Maynard did.
State.
No,
Pac-12
no.
game of. I mean, are we seriously?
You got to spice it up a bit. Come on.
Gracious. I don't know really much about either of these two teams, and I'm gonna go Arizona State because they're ranked. I don't know nothing about them. It's the Pac-12. Both teams really suck. It don't matter. Arizona State.
Maynard?
Well, I want to first of all say I will probably not be awake when this game is over. But I am a big Herm Edwards fan. I think, and I actually have followed this a little bit, Coach. He has turned that program around at Arizona State. He's got him a good young quarterback who I can't remember his name, but don't worry, Mikey, I'll tell it to you in a minute because he's been quoting people. But I got Arizona State and Herm Edwards pulling out the win.
I'm actually not. But I like Arizona State. I'm going to take them because I think Herm Edwards can give a better pregame pep talk than Kyle Whittingham can. So
that's good. There you go. I should have used that speech.
Yeah, I'll go with Arizona State because they're ranked, just like Coach did. I'm sorry. Okay, I'll remember next time. I won't do it. I'll find whoever Syracuse is playing out of the FCS and pick.
We got Clemson Friday night, in case you were wondering.
Oh, well, honestly, that could have been more of a toss-up. My bad. I missed that. That's right. Because neither team is ranked. That's why I didn't see it on my homepage. My bad. Let's take a shift here to the NFL before Coach starts crying about the Orangemen losing to Wake Forest in overtime. Last second loser. But Cardinals at Browns, undefeated Arizona, going to Cleveland. Coach, we'll go back to you here. Who you rolling with?
I'm gonna roll with the Cardinals. I think the Browns look really good. Offense was obviously spot on. I like the Cardinals. Roll with Kyler Murray while he's hot. Roll on.
Coach. Sorry. Maynard. Coach.
I've been rolling with the Cardinals all year. Y'all know that. They're my NFL team, kind of like Ole Miss and my college team right now. Oh, Murray slinging around to all those receivers, and they've been playing a little defense. They've been mixing it up. Last week they played defense, won a close one. So I got the Cardinals staying undefeated against
the goal line stand against Trey Lance was awesome.
Right. Did you watch that?
I did.
No.
I thought he broke his neck.
Yeah, I did too.
All right, Mikey.
This one was tough for me. I mean, I like the Browns. That the two games that they lost were both by 5 points or less, and it was to the Chiefs and the Chargers. So I'm going to take the Cardinals, but I don't have very much confidence in that pick, to be honest.
I'll go with Arizona. I have to go with the undefeated team here. Cleveland, they played well against the Chargers, but that defense faltered late. They were up 2 touchdowns in the third quarter and then just kind of disappeared there in the third and fourth quarter. No team had ever scored more than 40 points and lost more than, I think it was 40 points or something in the fourth. I don't know. Something in the fourth quarter and had never lost. Cleveland's the first one ever. They're going to be down. I have to pick against my division rival, going with Arizona. Raiders at Broncos. Coach, 2 questionable teams here. Lost 2 in a row. Who are you picking?
I mean, the Raiders lost to the Bears. Like, you lost to the Bears. And I think Teddy Bridgewater isn't getting enough credit for what he is doing in Denver. And if you look at the Broncos roster, I mean, they should be doing a lot better on offense than they are. I think Derek Carr is a good quarterback. He's got a lot of playmakers there. Darren Waller is a beast. I mean, he just looks like a beast when you see him on TV. I'm going with the Raiders. Even though they lost to the Bears, I'm going with the Raiders.
Maynard.
You're confused, but I didn't know who you're picking there.
Yeah, he does. There is another one.
Hey, I got to go both sides.
I think Vic Fangio is such a great coach, and I think he does a great job winning. But I got to go with Maynard.
I'm going with the Raiders. I'm a Derek Carr fan. I think he's one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the NFL. Stop.
You kind of look like Derek Carr.
Yeah, that's why you like him.
Yeah.
Where's the eyeliner?
I wish I had some. So, they can really throw the ball around. They don't run it real well. They had a bunch of running backs hurt, played a bunch of guys in there. Apparently, one of those guys is on Chuck's fantasy team because he's shaking his head. But But I got the Raiders. They're going to throw it around. You know, the Broncos have a very good defensive line, but I got the Raiders winning the close one.
Mike?
Yeah, I like the Raiders too. You know, the Broncos, I think both of these teams started out 3-0, but the Broncos' first 3 game wins were against the Giants, the Jets, and the Jags. So, I mean, not really the stiffest competition. I think Derek Carr has a big game. You know, like you said, Darren Waller and then Henry Ruggs is starting to play really well this year. I like the Raiders.
Great point there. The first 3 teams they beat were all 0-9 going into week 4. Combined for being 0-9 going into week 4. So, yeah, the Broncos are not the best team. I got to go with the Raiders. Even though it's in Denver, it's a must-win for really both teams right now with the Chargers streaking out to first place in the AFC West. But I have to go with the eyeliner, Derek Carr, and the Raiders. Maynard's, double. We'll go to Sunday Night Football. It's a big one. Yeah, you're double ganging. There you go. It's a big one here. Sunday Night Football, Steelers and the Seahawks in Pittsburgh. Steelers coming off a huge win over Denver. Seahawks without Russell Wilson, as we talked about earlier. They're going with the West Virginia quarterback, Geno Smith. So this is a big game for myself. Coach, who do you like?
I really loved how Denver responded when criticism came out for Big Ben. I thought the way his teammates stepped up for him, I think I sent y'all a text. I just thought that was cool. I think that shows how close they are and how they play for each other. By them winning, I think they're going to get a big momentum game here. I hope Geno Smith does good. I think he deserves it. I think he's a good quarterback. But with no Russell Wilson and Pittsburgh coming off hot, I'm going to go with the Steelers at home.
Maynard?
Well, it's been a rough week for me in fantasy with Russell Wilson going down. I know Juju's out for the year. I've lost 2 fantasy guys. So if anybody's got a fantasy quarterback out there, I need one. Because
Trey Lance.
I'll make a trade with you.
Because a couple weeks ago, I cut Big Ben because he's putting up about 10 points a game. So I didn't have a backup quarterback. But I got a little faith in Big Ben this week. He is big. Okay, so he hasn't literally looked at him. He doesn't move real well back there, but if he can get the ball out of his hand quick, let his receivers make some plays. I got the Steelers winning in a low-scoring game, defensive game, because neither offense is real good anymore.
Mikey? Yeah, same thing. I mean, I really just don't see the Seahawks having the chance without Russell Wilson. I mean, even with Russell Wilson, they really haven't been that good this year, to the Seahawks standards. And Najee Harris had his best game so far last week, 122 yards rushing. I think he has a big game this week, and I'm going with the Steelers.
Got to go with my boys. They had a big win over Denver. If you run the ball with Najee Harris, you will win the game. You have to run the ball. You're down Juju now. You still have weapons in the passing game with Chase Claypool and Deontay Johnson, but funnel the ball through Najee Harris. You just got to do it. And I'm going to be rooting for Geno, but if he throws a couple picks, I'll take those. Pittsburgh wins. I got to go with the Steelers. That's it, gentlemen. Those are our game picks. Another solid week. I envision myself going 8-0 again, overtaking Behringer for first place. Feel pretty good.
Syracuse at home. They ain't losing in the Dome against Clemson.
Who's the quarterback you got for me?
Matt Ryan.
Got Trey Lance.
Matt Ryan? Who you want? Look at my
Let's do while we're here. Let's see. I have Matt Ryan. He just put up 21 points.
Yeah.
Let's take a look. Who do you have on your team?
You want Melvin Gordon?
Who do you have on your team? Who do I
Melvin Gordon?
Jonathan Taylor looks nice.
I'm hoping that he goes off today because I need him to win.
I need him in another league. Jonathan Taylor looks good.
I trade him to your other league.
People that have multiple fantasy league losers.
This was the third one I had. No, this was the second one I had to be on. I've been on one for a long time. I will give you Matt Ryan for Jonathan Taylor.
Well, Melvin Gordon.
Awful trade.
No.
Awful trade.
He needs a quarterback. You want Matt Ryan, or you can go to the free agency and go get Tyler Heineke.
I already got Tannehill and the guy from Miami. They were both terrible. Sign them today.
All right, hold on. Let me see somebody else here. Okay, I'll give you Matt Ryan for both CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper.
In the show.
Yeah.
In the show.
All right.
In the show.
We'll discuss this more next week after Maynard gives away half his roster for Matt Ryan. We will see you all next time.